Hello, welcome back to Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I'm going ahead and going to start taking actual quests. And that's going to start over here with the level 1. There are, in Monster Hunter, kind of like invisible goals for each level of quest. They're called key quests. They aren't clearly marked or anything like that. Sometimes when you've played the game enough, you can kind of get a sense for what they are or which quests in the list they are. But for this point in the game, because we don't really have much money either, it's beneficial to just kind of go ahead and work down the list. So we'll start off by slaying 5 Jagia, which really shouldn't be an issue at all. Forgot about the insanity of the... Oh, is my pouch full for some reason? Oh, okay. For some reason, I didn't register that I had all that stuff, so that's fine. Yeah, having just played Monster Hunter Portable 3rd, the sensitivity on the stick is very noticeable to me, but it's one of those things that, like a few hours into the game, I won't even remember, so it's fine. I think it's just kind of touchy, so it accelerates super quick. Oh right, I'm hunting Jagia, aren't I? So the big ones here. This is the Jagia, right? I'm pretty sure it's Jagia, not Jaggy. Yeah. So hunting the little guy is kind of pointless, but it's good practice. This game, unlike the others, I think this is maybe the only one to do this. Maybe the 4th does, and Cross, and Generations, and Double Cross, and all that. I'd have to go and play those games to check. But when you side roll, the camera kind of dynamically follows you. And I know for a fact that wasn't a thing in Portable 3rd. I don't believe it's a thing in the current generation, and I know it's not in the Freedom games or Unite. Doesn't really matter, it's just kind of interesting. Well, if y'all want to beat me up and not let me carve stuff, that's really fine. I mean, maybe the benefit of the fast camera is that I can really spin around to see stuff. There will definitely be some fights in this game where that will be incredibly useful. Apologies to anyone with motion sickness issues. Although, you know what, I was looking at the recording just the other night of the first episode, and I was like, how atrocious is the super accelerated spinning? But I think it's because of the way that the recording is working. Like, it's, as far as I'm aware, is using a direct hook to capture the frames compared to just capturing my display. And that kind of means it can see something that we don't see when we're playing the game. It may well be capturing a truer picture, or it's capturing at a higher frame rate, or maybe it's just smoothing the experience. But either which way, when I would look back on it, it actually doesn't look that atrocious, which was relieving. It's also it's impressive how much the rendering process changes the video sometimes, because like Monster Hunter is a little bit faster paced than, say, Legend of Dragoon. So like you record an hour of Legend of Dragoon, and with the settings that I have and the variable bit rate and stuff like that, there isn't much changing on screen. So it really may only need 4, 5, 6 gigs, even for an hour length video, 60 frames per second and high resolution and all that, yada, yada, yada. But for Monster Hunter, because so much is changing, there's a lot of moving pieces, you might have grass and menus and different frames kind of constantly. It's a little bit of a different experience. So it tends to take up more space. Like an hour video of this game looks to be around 17 gigabytes. And if you did that entirely losslessly, it could be completely different. Deliver monster guts. This is usually annoying, but we'll do it. Also, because the loading is so quick, I don't really need to make cuts in between and saving and stuff, which is awesome. I had to do that all throughout Third Portable and Unite. Hi again, you know, I just live for my job, so I figured I'd pop in to give you a bit more advice. Lucky you. Once a quest is started, you can do stuff. Okay, I know this. It's okay. And I still forgot to, put stuff away. It's okay. Now I'm here for monster gut. Actually, you know what? That's a fish now, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I feel as if I need to go fishing to do that, and redoing the the underwater combat here. The movement, it's actually pretty intuitive. I wouldn't be upset if it came back for the newest game, which at the time of recording hasn't yet been released, but is currently titled Monster Hunter Wilds. Oh, are these the things that give... I have like a tentative thought that these are the creatures I need to be fighting. Alright, let's see. Yeah, can I have memories of... Okay, that doesn't mean these aren't the right things. Hydrohide. I can swap that for... Oh, jeez, I don't know. I guess I'll just discard it. Or maybe I'm crazy and what I'm talking about isn't down here. I'm legitimately excited for some of the underwater battles that are going to occur in this game. They can be, I don't know, it's tough to rate them accurately. I remember them being, like, tough and kind of frustrating. Oh, hey, look, here's a Legiacros. Oh no. Good Hunter, this is terrible. The creature you see before you is the Legiacros, the sea monster that has been tormenting our poor village. With terrible timing. Relax, I must relax, breathe. Okay, now get out of there as quickly as you can. If you would insist on acquiring the quest's items, please pick an area where the Legiacros is nowhere to be seen. Don't be reckless. You're no match for that creature right now. Live to hunt another day. So, it's a big crocodile-inspired monster. And underwater, you know, a pretty high frame rate, it is very imposing. Now, I mentioned the frame rate because I feel like the animation for Monster Hunter has always been so good, even in the earlier games, and I've recently played them, so it's not just a bias. Like, looking back on them, even on the PS2, the original, like, the animation was pretty good. The hitboxes were something else, but the animation on them was good. And as a result, I really feel like just adding the fluidity that comes with a higher frame rate was to the benefit of the game. It just adds to the already excellent animations. So that monster, when it like coils up in the water ahead of you, when its eyes glow red, and that starts to advance, and you can like really feel every little bit of motion. It's spook. It's a spooky experience. All right, now I'll just get rid of this thing. Fangs are largely used in Monster Hunter for creating ammo. And while there's nothing wrong with being a bow gunner, I am not. So I don't need that. I have to say, also, I actually kind of like the little swirl around when you dodge left and right. It's kind of nice. Like, I had to adapt to it because it's not in the other games, but it is fun. It feels good. Actually, that's really what I'm feeling the most of when I return to this game, is like, it just feels really solid. Oh, hi, Legiacros. This is kind of what the quest wants to have happen right now. As silly as that sounds. The quest wants you to have this, like, oh god, no, the big monster showed up moment. And I get it. That's cool. And it is, like, it is quite scary as a monster. I wouldn't want to have to fight in real life. I come from a maritime people, so I've definitely been on the ocean. I've had scary stories about the ocean be told to me, and it makes sense. I probably am more scared of the ocean than I am of a lot of things. It's just, you know, there's that depth. So running away from something underwater, not being able to swim fast enough, unintentionally nightmare. But it's a really cool way to bring back the risk of what's happening in Monster Hunter, because I feel like that does get obfuscated a little bit, just in the fact that the game is cool and it's fun to play and get good at and hunt things. So when you're at a place where it's like, you know, on land, you can run around, you can always win, you can block, you know the right things to do, it loses a little bit of the inherent horror of fighting giant monsters. Putting you back underwater, kind of making you feel a little bit clumsy. It's actually a genius game design. And I played a lot of Try. I'm not one of those people that didn't like the game from the get-go, and now is turning around, in my opinion. You know, I played obnoxious amount of Try, and it, you know, kind of a random memory, but it sucked to play Try on the Wii, because, you know, the Wii had the Wiimotes and stuff like that, and this game very well may have had motion controls. I have no idea, I never tried. But what you could do with the Wiimote was, you know, it kind of had like the port at the bottom that you could plug the nunchuck into. But alternatively, if you had one, you could plug a Pro controller in where the nunchuck went. And that kind of lets you, you know, use a normal controller for Monster Hunter. And I went through 2 or 3 before I got like a Pro version that was like wireless and standalone. And I put a lot of hours into just that because, you know, what else are you gonna do? I remember being somewhat blurry. Like looking back, and I think that was just because of the weird resolution and the mismatch of TVs and stuff like that. Because I was probably playing it on like some old, what would have been like a family TV, big gray box or something, right? Okay, it looks like the boat is coming in. There's a few boats that we'll unlock throughout the game. This one, I'm sure we'll hear about as we talk to all these citizens. Ah, can you believe this nonsense? If it's not one thing, of course it's got to be something else. What happened to the days when current events were just about the current? Now we got a lackey whatever giving us grief. Well, at least we managed to salvage one of the boats, and more importantly, our boys' lives. We will fish again. Which reminds me, since you're part of our village now, aren't you curious about how the hunting fleet operates? No, I know, I get it, I understand. Ooh, think you can learn as you go, do you? Well, I admire your spirit. Here, you should at least have this. We use tackle, like this, to give our boats a little help on the voyage. You can select tackle from the dispatch menu. I know you'll put it to good use. So we can dispatch people on boats. That's basically, we unlock different places to send them. So right now we can only send them to the Moga coast, which is kind of just like fishing around this area. You can give them different tackles, which are catalysts for better outcomes. They're not guarantees of better outcomes, which I feel like is important to note. This is all effectively RNG. So, you know, we'll throw yeah. We'll throw a fish finder. And they are off. Okay. So you finally saw the son of a gun, the Azure Lightning, the Lord of the Seas, the stinky sea devil. Okay, I made that last one up, but you saw it, right? The Legiacrus? So, what's the word, Hunter? Think you can take it? You don't have to answer. I don't expect you to run off and slay the beast right now. To be honest, I'm just happy you made it back in one piece, kid. I forgot to size you up for a casket before you left. Just ribbing you. It's been a good day. Both you and the men of the hunting fleet are home safe and sound. We lost 2 of our 3 boats. But so what? Boats you can replace, but not lives. Hear that, sailors? Be careful. Which is, that's how you want your chief to talk, right? You don't want him to be more upset about the boats than the people. Oh hey, I completely forgot, but you've got another request. The head farmer wants to add a shroom box to the farm. He could use it to cultivate mushrooms. It's going to cost a few resources, but you'll be able to gather a lot more mushrooms. It's a good trade-off. I've made a list of everything we need. I know you're busy hunting and all, but try to make some room for this. Yeah, what is out there? There's no large monsters yet because we can't really, we haven't fought any, so they can't populate in the forest. Which is fine. Before I go on that quest, I should put away stuff. I keep on forgetting. Okay. That can go away. That can go away. Yeah, that can go away. I'll take that. Yep. Yep, 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 yep. Now, if you have never played Monster Hunter before, it's important to note that you can always craft like weapons and armor from your inventory and whatever is in your item chest. So it's really imperative to put stuff away because the game just inundates you with stuff. That's not a bad thing. There's lots of use to this stuff, but it also means you don't want to be trucking it around at all times. Whoa, is it true? Were you attacked by the Legiacrus? Show me the teeth marks. I can't believe you made it back. You're tough. Monster tough. Well, I'm sure luck played a part too. It might still be out there, so keep your eyes peeled. That said, I never imagined you'd tear through quests like this, and I'm a pretty good judge, if I do say so myself. Anyways, let's get down to business. While you were out questing, I had a small chat with the guild. Guess what I've got for you? A brand new monster slaying quest. This time, it's a Ludroth. And what, you ask, is a Ludroth? According to my in-depth and kind of heavy guidebook, Ludroth, carnivorous monster that live near water, prone to violence. Jeepers creepers. Well, it's been nice working with you. I mean, don't worry. This is a Moga Woods monster, so what do some writers know? You'll be fine. Probably. Just so you know, be careful, especially against monsters you don't know with sharp teeth. Now, off you go. Remember, prep time is everything. Alright, so we have unlocked our first urgent quest. This kind of typically lets you progress through the ranks. But for now, let's just finish everything else up because, again, the loading screens are so quick. I'm kind of incentivized to just make a little bit of that introductory money. We don't even really need anything for Kelbies. We'll just go around and find them. I think they're up here, right? Well, they historically were up here. I think they can appear, yeah, over here as well. One of two. Now, I kind of don't think there's any value in beating up these ones because they're too young to have horns. But we might as well confirm it because it doesn't even look like they really die. Somehow we can even carve meat off of them. And they just get up to trot away. Yeah, look, and there we go. Got a horn. Yeah, we just need the two, right? So easy quest. Just keep on trucking over here. Okay, and yeah, we don't need to grab anything, so we'll just drop it off and let the quest complete. Hey, lovely. And we'll send that all off. The honey will definitely come in use. Honey is used to make mega potions largely. He does a bunch of stuff, but mega potions is a major benefit. All right. What is next? Oh, I hate fishing. I don't want to fish. And I remember where these stones are as well, but I don't really want to do that either right now. So, yeah, let's go hunt those loot drops. There's some, oh, okay, the person has to talk to me. Oh, my good hunter, this time we have you on what we call an urgent quest. As you can guess, it must be done ASAP. Completing this quest is a big deal. It could go a long way in getting you recognized by the guild. Your target is an aquatic monster, the Ludroth. It might be just a bit stronger than what you're used to. Alright. I kind of doubt that. But let's see what it has for me anyway. Well, actually, it's just the little ones. So there's a bigger monster based on the Ludroth, the Royal Ludroth, and it's the actual like large monster hunt that takes a little bit more time depending on gear. Hey, look at that introduction. Cool. Now, most of these monsters, like basically anything that is normal, so like these minor monsters, I don't know what you want to call them, these should never really be a concern, is the harsh truth of it. They're just not terribly imposing. They can be a nuisance depending on the monsters. So there's some monsters in the game that can charge at you, and that's annoying. There's monsters that can like shoot ice or maybe paralysis and sleep poisons at you, and that's like, it's not ideal, but it's largely within the category of nuisance. Not a whole lot of monsters that are not like large monsters themselves have enough firepower to really hurt you unless you're just being careless. And once you like level up, they typically don't have the ability to sustain too many hits. So even now, and I've only upgraded this sword like once, it's still enough to more or less kill these guys in like 4 hits. Cool. Now, random note, I think for anyone who's going to go ahead and check out this game, that red coral stone, I think you can get it from here or these bones. It's one of the two. Yeah, there we go. Proof of concept. You can get red coral stone from right here. It's not that I didn't think I could do it. I just didn't have the patience right that second. I wanted to fight some stuff. For as mature as that may or may not be. I also wouldn't recommend trying to hold your breath as long as your character. You know, sometimes it's fun, like you're watching a movie or something, and the character goes underwater, and you go, oh, okay. And you hold your breath, and you see if you could do it, as long as, like, the scene imposes that they have to. That's fun. Don't do it here. You'll just hurt yourself. But again, the characters in Monster Hunter are kind of superhuman at a level. Oh god, what's the button to skip? So it doesn't surprise me that I can hold my breath this long. And again, if I can only hold my breath for like verging on 30 seconds before I start shaking and freaking out, would it be realistic? Sure. Would it be fun? Absolutely not. So I understand why the designers went with the choices that they did. It just makes sense. Maybe there's a place for incredibly realistic underwater combat, you know, where you even breathe very much, and it's mostly like diving for bursts of things. Now there are cultures that cultivate divers and free divers that can go down for quite tremendous periods of time. I am aware of that type of thing, but it's by no means the human standard. Alright, more hydrohide. I'll send all of that to the box. Just kind of accumulating stuff right now. Hey, lovely. La la, I'm sick to the stomach. Pardon me while I purge today's lunch. Bleh. I don't know, it sounded like a French cat. Oh, these claws, this genius. It was not cut out for the ocean. My dream was to dream up the world's best recipes, not to regurgitate them. Oh, no. No more sea voyages. A chef of my caliber belongs in a kitchen that holds steel. No, as a Canadian, that's probably offensive on so many levels to do a bad French accent. Fortunately, your chief was kind enough to allow me to stay here. In return, I have agreed to offer my services. I perform the ultimate in culinary magic. Partake of my dishes, you see, and you gain health, attack, and more. Before I cook, you must select two things: the ingredients and the method. If your choices are not up to scratch, then the final result is certain to lack a certain je ne sais meow. Oh god, these cats, man. Nonetheless, I employ a strict lick the plate policy. You force me to make it, I force you to eat it. Oui, oui. Oh, and beware, the effects of my delicacies last for only one hunt. Once you return, they are gone. Alors, I shall get the canteen ready to serve the good people of Moga Village. Please be patient. Meow-see. That's hilarious. That I didn't realize there were so many inherent, like, weird, like, French cat jokes, like, pronunciation-wise. That's pretty impressive. Alright, what do you have to say, man, with a katana? So, Hunter, you are looking for Captain of the Argosy. So, look no more, for I am he. Mayhap you are wondering why Mad, known as Giant of Far East, would sail his trade ship to Itty Bitty Village. I am glad you asked. Moga Village, famous for rare items. Commodities fetch big price overseas. You bring me these commodities, I offer trade goods from around the globe in Kukan. Kukan means exchange. Do you want an explanation of how trading works? No. I imagine I will give you stuff and then you give me stuff. Cool. Welcome back, kid. Bet you're wondering where all the skyline's gone. Behold the Argosy, our link to the outside world. The Argosy's a trade ship. You see, the commodities we find in the Moga Woods fetch a pretty penny out abroad. Okay, so basically, we can sell stuff, and trading is good. No, I have met your cat, Neko. And he's just like, hey man, if you want to go to the multiplayer area, you're allowed to do that using my cat. He'll sail you. Did you talk to the feline there? So itinerant cook. He wandered many lands to learn all world's recipes. Okay, so he's just like, hey, you can talk to the cat and you can cook. Here's the thing. Cool. Welcome, dear Hunter. Business has gotten much better with the Argosy calling on the village again. From now on, whenever she's in port, select items will be half off. What a deal. Alright. So it's just telling you that like cool drinks are good if it's hot. Hot drinks are good if it's cool. There's different items. They have lots of value. But we don't need too much stuff right now. Hey, oh, Hunter, I hear you got a request to bag one of the big boys. Guess it's high time I taught you about the target cam. I don't need to know, because I'm never going to use the lock-on. And honestly, I kind of request, or would advise, that nobody does. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just old school. What do you have to ask of me, man? Okay, he wants to use bugs. That's cool. Alright. Did you see the Argosy is here? Well, how could you not see? It's freaking enormous. The Argosy is a trade ship. It's been a part of Moga Village for life, for as long back as I can remember. But I'll leave the storytelling to the chief. I've got more important stuff to tell you. For example, the new hunting ground. See, top-class hunters don't just poke around home, they hunt far and wide. You earned your stripes with that Ludroth quest, and now you're cleared to hunt in a brand new spanking location. It's called the Sandy Plains. Wondering what sort of place it is? Yeah, me too, according to my in-depth and kinda heavy guidebook. The Sandy Plains is a dry region known for its high temperatures and hordes of monsters. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Now, let's talk harvest tours. Harvest tours just let you go to a place and not have to specifically hunt anything. They're great. Alright. Now we're already on number 2. So let's go hunt some Altaroth. I can't believe hunting a single Ludroth was an urgent quest for like 5 even. That's still so ridiculous. We got a poison bomb, so we might as well bring it. Certain monsters, like insects, will immediately splatter if you just use a big weapon to kill them. Like that. So a way to preserve their bodies and still carve them for parts is to kill them with poison. And if you have a big sword, you can't like use a poison round or something like that. So what you have to do is use a poison bomb, which doesn't exactly sound like the more peaceful option, but it is. So A+. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a legitimately interesting debate between which would you rather be hit with a giant weapon and splattered apart, or poisoned to death. Because poisoned to death, you know, presuming it goes perfectly, is rather quick and sudden and hopefully not too painful. But it doesn't have to be painless. It could go wrong, and then you could be, you know, a poisoning death that was really awkward and uncomfortable. And there's some types of poisoning where like all you can get is palliative care because you have ruined your organs, and unless you can get like an organ replacement, you're going to go into overall failure. And sometimes things that like you wouldn't expect. There's a lot of like kind of disheartening stories of people accidentally taking too much Tylenol, and you know, in like an emotional attempt to take their life or something like that. But taking all of that Tylenol can ruin your liver, and because you know it's attached to an attempt on your own life, that usually disqualifies you from getting an organ transplant. It's one of like the qualifiers to make sure that the organs, there's limited supply, they're only going to the right people. So you have this situation where you can't do anything about it and no one can really help you. And then you just have to go through organ failure and die. So really do be careful not taking too much medicine. Now this is, oh no, it's an obscene amount. It's not like you're gonna take 3 instead of 2 and have this horrible experience. It's like you have to take a pill bottle or something, but still, pretty uncomfortable thing. Because I'm sure there's people who have kind of subverted that only take 2 every 6 hours or based on your weight, recommendation, and ended up having this really scary, horrible experience just because you may presume that something is safer than it is just because it's common. And, Tylenol can fall into that. Oh, we live on the sea and for the sea. Saltwater courses in our veins. We are the three, the proud, the hunting fleet. Our mission is fishing. Bring in the sea's bounty to the village. I'm talking in tuna, so fresh it's still twitching. No, but common sea monsters are our greatest foes. It's our job to drive off creatures that might harm the village. Wait a minute. You're that hunter that showed up recently, aren't you? You look pretty tough for a landlubber. If only the 3 of us in the hunting fleet could return to our former glory, we'd show you hunters who's best. Alas, 2 of our 3 boats were splintered stem to stern when the Legiacrus attacked. From now, only now, my boat is an A-shaped leaf port. We're not gonna let that stop us from fishing, though. Okay, so he's basically like, hey man, if you give us our jobs back, we will do our jobs. Which, fair enough. Hey, this is where you can go to eat. It is worth doing, but not right now. Because I'm just not doing anything that's significant enough. Hey, look at this, our first somewhat large monster. Where is my... Okay, I should drop some stuff off. Oh, I can't, because I'm done. That's okay. You know what? Maybe it's because this is the first large monster we're going against, and we don't have Ooh, interesting question. Fried steak and rice? That's good, right? Yeah, it's a hearty meal. Stamina and attack. Love it. Sakes alive, kid. Okay, yeah. I killed a Ludroth. It's very impressive. You were telling me about charms, all that stuff. It's great. Awesome. Need some more iron. But otherwise, we should be good to upgrade eventually. Now let's go bag us a great Jackia. Like my battle cry, I'm here to inspire you to have a great hunt. Did it work? How about now? Your target this time is a great Jackie. This big fella is much tougher than anything you've had to hunt before. They say a great Jackie can boss around other Jackie, organizing them to attack you in a pack. Isn't Mother Nature wild? Okay, so fight stuff, and then what I'm going to teach is the same thing they're going to. The old school monster hunters, you can unlock abilities that tell you where monsters are, but that's usually a much later game attribute. For a majority of the early game, and even possibly going into the end game, you have to manually tag a monster with a paintball. And while this does say paintball, it may be more accurate to think of it as some sort of GPS. Because once you've used the paintball, so long as it is active, which you could think of as the battery still being alive, the paintball will tell you where the monster is anywhere on the map, no matter where it goes, even if you die. Which doesn't really make any sense. just from a logical perspective. Like, gameplay, totally cool. Loving it. Makes tons of sense from a gameplay perspective. But from a reality perspective, you know, you go out to the woods, you throw some paint at a bear, that bear runs away. You don't know where that bear is, man. You can throw as much paint as you want at it. You don't know where that bear is, man. Unless it's attacking you because you threw a bunch of paint at it. In which case, you probably, unfortunately, know exactly where it is. On top of you. Wouldn't want to be mauled by a bear. You know, there's lots of experiences you can have in this life. I like how I went the wrong way every single time, except for where I know its nest is. It's silly. But yeah, wouldn't want to be mauled by a bear. Wouldn't preferably want to be mauled by anything. Cool, so this is the Great Jaggy, or Jagia, whatever it is. And we're just going to put all of our power into bullying it. More than anything, that's what we're here for. Yeah, well, I have to say the battles feel really good in this frame rate and resolution. It just it's such a notable difference from Portable 3, even with the optimizations that were brought into that game. When I did the playthrough of it, it's still noticeably this very much is the, you know, the step between old school and new school Monster Hunter. Even more so than I would say than Generations is, which I think is kind of odd. But I've done some testing on my copy of Double Cross, which is the version of that game that I'll eventually be playing, you know, when the stars align and time comes. And it looks good, but Double Cross is a 3DS game, and there is the English version of Double Cross is known as Generations, and I would play Generations, but I just don't know, or well, I know how. I don't have a convenient way of capturing gameplay from my Switch. So 3DS is a little bit easy for me. Now there's cool things about that too. So you can, oh, I forgot to throw a paintball at this guy. Where does he go? Yeah, I kind of forget where that tunnel takes them. That's okay, I'll find them. I'll just bump around. The fight seemed to be going well, so that's what matters. Maybe he's scurried away to 4. So we'll go up through 8 and then go down into 4. But yeah, I don't think even Double Cross or Generations looks, arguably, I don't even know if it looks as good as this game. And then obviously World goes very hard on graphical fidelity. And, you know, I played a lot of Monster Hunter, so I understand why it's doing that. And it looks really good. And I love World. And playing it to this day still feels impressive. There's the benefit of the game just being pretty, having smart design. But I think it's largely because the Monster Hunter developers are perfectly happy setting a standard and then keeping it for a very long time, like they did with the first game. You know, Monster Hunter 1 came out, it for the PS2 was very impressive and a huge accomplishment in my opinion, especially because it was one of the early progenitors of online play. It wouldn't be far stretched to say that, you know, the experience of online multiplayer as we experience it now was in part motivated by the experiences that the developers gained releasing Monster Hunter and the things that the industry learned about how people play online and how, you know, code reacts to that situation. Now, is that to say that the current developers of Call of Duty were looking at Monster Hunter 2 on the network adapter? You know, no. But it's been a series that's been around for a while, and when it sets that standard, it's perfectly happy to look impressive. And then equally, you can kind of have it go around to the other direction, where it stays that way for a long time. So what was impressive can potentially become a little bit dull, but that is not where things are at right now. So I think it's fine. I just think it's interesting that more of the games in the series don't look like Tri or 3 Ultimate. It's interesting to me that when Generations and Cross came out, they tended to look like the old school games more. I recognize that they're kind of like a final send-off to the old school, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe this just didn't fit the bill. And maybe I'm misremembering, right? Maybe they look more like this than I thought. Maybe their original hardware was the limiter just as well, with, you know, Cross and Double Cross being 3DS releases. All right, well, that's pretty awesome. We can do a save. I know you went through a lot of trouble to take down that Great Shaggy and all, but now we've had sightings of more Great Shaggy in the woods. The beasts that fled from the earthquake must be coming back. I know those woods better than anybody. Don't forget to check the Moga forecast before you leave the village. And that's kind of a growing dynamic. As you fight more monsters, you kind of unlock them for the Moga forest. And then they can potentially show up, I believe, on a random chance in the different areas. Cool. All right. What are you saying now, buddy? Hey there. Thanks for coming. I've gotten a request for you. Okay, so he's just talking about like, hey, you can get more fields in your farm if you want them. And this is kind of what I was talking about. You can begin to see additional requirements beyond just the resources themselves. Mon Dieu, the bistro. She is doing perfectly splendid. And all things to your patronage. Yeah. For this, I shall offer higher level grain ingredients to my customers. This is quite the bargain. If you use higher level ingredients, the dishes increase our health even more. It's a gastro jus de vie. Jus de ver? I don't know, I can't pronounce every French word. That's okay. Welcome back, Hunter dearest. Great job with the great Shaggy. Fierce strikes, quick dodges, flawless judgment. The sparks were really flying out there. Well, just guessing. I certainly didn't see it. Anyway, break time's over. There's hunting to do. Top-class hunters face a steady stream of impossible tasks. For instance, once a tippy-top-of-the-line hunter would try to bag a live Arzuros, right? Well, looky here. I've got the exact job. That silly guild. Breaking hearts and breaking hunters. Yes, I can see it in your eyes. How am I to capture a giant monster that's all teeth and attitude? Well, you have to beat it near death, you have to wait for it to start limping, and then you have to throw a trap down to capture it, and then you have to use tranquilizers once it is there. Let's go capture an Arzuros. I think the guild is going to give us the stuff we need to do it. But there comes a point later in the game where that might not always be the case. Your contract is a little bit more lively. Okay, so it's basically like fight it up until the point where it's almost dead, and then instead of killing it, capture it. Now this is kind of fun, because if you played Try, Arzuros is not in Try, but it is in third portable. And it really does showcase that this game is the final game in the third, you know, what generation, I guess. You could argue that because so many monsters from third portable are here in 3 Ultimate, that you should skip third portable. I would personally advise folks not to do that. I think third portable has enough merit and has a really cool village. So here is our bear. The Arzuros is a body type that is used in a few other monsters in the game. So mastering it pays dividends, learning where its body can go, how it moves, how it runs, how it turns. All of that's really useful information. Ultimately, anytime you're playing Monster Hunter, you should be working towards kind of like garnering an invisible understanding of what the monster is going to do. And then once you've kind of like prepared that list, you need to start a secondary list of what it can do, where it can go, how you can react. There's so many options that are out there. So many things to consider. Yeah, so in the right circumstances, if you know what you're trying to do and where you gotta be to do it, you can just like slowly walk after the monster while it does really damaging attacks. That is the benefit of foresight or hindsight, or I don't know. Whichever one means you know what's gonna happen. Okay, so what we just saw there is one of the downsides of my current weapon sucking. And it's that what monsters have different levels of defense across their bodies. Some areas are tougher to penetrate than others. And some areas have resistances to certain types, but not others. For example, a really thick skull. Wow, is this thing limping already? What the heck? Alright. Quick. A creature with a really thick skull may well block, you know, slashing damage to the head or something, but it might receive bludgeoning. You know, it could go a few different ways. Alright, we're going over here. That's cool. Presuming it's coming right here. All right. We'll try and put the trap down here. Nice. And that should be that. That is a captured Arzuros. Also right here dropped a shiny. Shiny is indicated by a little like pebble of flashing light on the ground, typically after something has happened with a monster. Shinies have various different potential items you can acquire from them depending on what you're fighting. Sometimes it'll be a tier. Sometimes it'll be a monster part like a scale. Very rarely you can get very nicer stuff, but for the most part, it's tiers. Okay, we'll send all this stuff off to the box. Now we have about $10,000, which is not a bad place to be early on in the game. Just gives us a little bit of security, and we can play around with some items and stuff if need be. Great work, kid. I think we can all agree you're no rookie anymore. But don't get cocky here. Like I said, the Arzuros is felines play. There's plenty of tougher monsters out there. Now then, while you were out, you missed a bit of excitement in the village. One of our boys came home saying he'd spotted a strange creature in the woods. Neither human nor monster, he says. Sure, we could chalk it up to a playful imagination, but I think his story warrants a listen at least. Better safe than sorry, right? I'll let him give you the details. Do me a favor and go investigate. Heck, do yourself a favor. The guild is treating this as an official quest. You should drop by the guild counter. Okay. So there's clearly a few people to talk to in the guild quest counter. Hey, you seem like you're in a loop around here, so maybe this is old news, but the kids are all carrying on about some odd creature they saw in the woods. At first, I figured it was just their imagination playing tricks on them. But then I cornered the kid, who saw it and heard his report firsthand. Excuse me, sounds like we're dealing with a shakalaka. Shakalaka look like us, except half as tall and with weird masks. Don't let their size fool you. They're vicious. I've heard tell they're worse than wyverns when they attack as a group. If a tribe has shown up in our woods, I hope I'm just jumping to conclusions. But if you plan on searching for the little bugger, you best be prepared. Oh, by the way, the kids insisted on asking the guild to look for the thing they saw. Go check the guild quest counter. Alright, so that puts us in that position. I think we may have a thing or two to drop off. Otherwise, that is this episode of Monster Hunter I was gonna say portable third. This is episode of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Thanks for checking it out. Hope you're having a good one wherever you are, and see you around on the next episode. Bye.